Good afternoon, everybody. It's a delight being here and being associated with digital learning and the events for the last 3-4 years. I think this is a great forum to meet and interact and get a whole lot of ideas. Over the next 10 to 12 minutes, I've been given this opportunity to give you a quick introduction to what we do at Meritrack and walk you through some of the offerings and some of the initiatives that we're working on. We started, so I'll give you a quick overview of the corporate overview and then what we're doing in the examination space. We started in 2000, we complete 10 years in about a few months. Primarily as an assessment organization. We don't do anything else except assessments and testing. And we would have delivered over about 8 million assessments till date. We'll cross the 10 million assessed mark sometime in August. To about 250 odd customers, tests in about 300 odd areas, tests delivered in about 250 odd cities. Incidentally, our Controller of Exam Office got certified for ISO 9001-2008, probably making it one of the first COE offices to be certified. We work with NASSCOM as an exclusive partner for NACTEC, which is an engineering skill certification program. We work with various governments on vocational skill certification. We work with governments of Orissa, Gujarat. We're also DGET accredited assessment partner. In fact, we won the E-India ICT Enabled University Best Project Award along with Gujarat Technological University for an execution of a project that I'll speak of later. So that's a quick corporate overview. We work with corporates, with education institutions, with vocational skills, and with certification bodies. Some of the customers that we work with on the education side, we have quite a few of our clients in this distinguished audience. We're privileged to work with a variety of medical schools like JIPMER, AIIMS, NIMHANS, technological universities like GTU, IIIT Bangalore, so on and so forth. In the education space itself, any exam has 4 parts to it. You do application processing, you get the applications and you need to process, send out hall tickets, etc. There's a whole bunch of pre-exam activities where you need to identify venues, venue certification, you need to get the content in place, uploading of that into a QBank software and then printing the question papers. There's, of course, on the exam day, there are a bunch of activities that need to be done of administering the exam. And lastly, the post-exam activities, which are to do more with results processing and making sure that the counseling processes are enabled. We provide end-to-end services right from the time candidate applies till the time he lands up at a venue for counseling. And we do it both in a computer-based model and an offline model. I'll take a quick minute on the paper-based exams. Typically, we estimate, and I'll spend a little bit more time on that during the afternoon, but about of the 200 million exams that happen in India annually, about 199.5 million exams run in the paper pencil mode. Less than 500,000 of it use technology in some form or the other. So paper pencil exams will continue for a long time to come, though the transition effects will happen faster. The key things that we do for our customers in a paper pencil exam is to help identify test venues across the country. For one of our clients, we deliver 1 million exams in a span of 10 days across about 300 odd locations in about 220 odd cities. So test venue identification and the entire activities around it becomes critical. We help organizations on content authoring. How do you manage a robust question bank? How do you make sure that the validity of the content, item writing workshops, etc., are in place? And a variety of pre-event services like question paper printing, OMR printing, scanning, results processing, etc. As I mentioned, we've delivered tests in about 250 plus cities. We have identified and contracted seats of 200,000 plus seats in about 111 cities across the country. And when I mentioned that we have contracted identified seats in each of these cities, each of these venues, we have all details with respect to venue, with respect to the approach, the photographs for each of the elements that will make a good venue, so on and so forth. So this is a quick snapshot of the offline test taking process. It's only that we manage it at the back end, therefore freeing up resources for our customers at the front end. In the online mode itself, one of the experiments that happened a little before CAT in July of last year was a first ever time a government exam went online. This was called GSET by the Gujarat Technological University. About 23,000 people took this exam online in 11 cities within Gujarat in a span of 4 days, and the administration went off very well. This was all done using public infrastructure. It was not done in private testing centers, but we used colleges. And that gave a whole lot of confidence for a variety of exam boards to even contemplate moving online, in the course of the year. The challenges really around online exams come around scalability of infrastructure, terminals, internet, power. Do we have the technology for the Indian context? Do we have the controls and security processes in place? One of my friends used to say that I like mechanical engineering because I can see things. I don't like electronics because it's all happening behind. And I think that mentality still pervades when it comes to online exams. In a paper pencil exam, you can literally see stuff. But the moment it goes into the digital realm, the issues around saying, oh, how do I really know what's happening behind comes up. Multiple batches, equating, obviously take an exam like AIEEE, which is contemplating going online. There's no way that 1.2 million exams can be conducted in a single batch online across the country. Or the economics of it will make it very infeasible. And therefore, you need to have multiple batches, and therefore, how do you equate content across batches? There are a variety of candidate apprehensions as well of the digital divide, and will I really be able to take an online test? In the last 3 years, we've grappled with each of that. I still remember doing an online exam in 2000. We tested about 30,000 people in Andhra Pradesh, and my colleagues have a photograph of me sitting down and having a bunch of papers and fanning a router, because with the heat, the router used to just blink off and the entire online exam used to crash. We've come a long way from there. But in the last 3 years, especially, we've delivered over 3 million high-stakes exams, and about 500,000 of it online. In our own test centers, we run test centers in about 16 cities and about 1,100 terminals in about 200 plus cities, etc. So what we've done is we've synthesized all of this to arrive at an approach called Pariksha. Now, Pariksha is our way of synthesizing all these elements and coming out of the comprehensive offering. We believe that there are the Panchabhutas of online exams. The 5 elements are around infrastructure, technology, quality processes, the entire science of content or equating, and lastly, test support. So in November, we unveiled this initiative after a variety of doing a variety of tasks over the last 1.5 years. So on infrastructure, we said, how do we make sure that we can conduct one large exam in a single day? So which means we took a number and said, if 150,000 typically is a number for a large exam, most of the state CETs, etc., are at about 150,000. So we said, if you had to do 150,000 exams online, how can we do that in a day? What are the cities and towns that we need to be present in? And therefore, the teams worked saying that we need 50,000 terminals in about 185 cities in the country. When we did an analysis of which exams happen in which cities, about 90% of the exams, of all the exams, not just the higher education, but the government exams as well, happen in about these cluster of 185 cities. So we have now an identified network of 50,000 terminals in 185 cities that we can technically conduct an exam in. These are a variety of partner network. We call it as Pariksha centers. So we address the infrastructure side. On the technology side, we said, what are the unique processes that to an Indian student and test administrators? For example, power goes, right? And you can't have a test that stops when the power goes. You still need an auto recovery mode. You still need even if the network cable is pulled out accidentally, which happens. We had a guy who stretched to yawn and he pulled out a bunch of wires from a router, and you can't expect the test to stop. So how do we have a seamless experience across all models of delivery? In India, I'll talk about that. There is a mode where you can deliver tests via the internet. There's a mode we call it a distributed model, where you can deliver tests via the intranet. And therefore, for a candidate, he doesn't need to care about which mode is the test being delivered in, as long as he's able to take a test. This is a complicated set of boxes, not because we wanted to make the slide complicated, because technology is complicated here. We've created a integrated assessment platform called Pariksha. It's the Pariksha Integrated Test Platform, which looks at all elements right from the time an exam starts till the time the counseling part is done. We've integrated all of this on a common unified delivery platform with several layers running right through the system. Of course, the third element becomes processes. So we went and got ourselves certified for ISO 9001 2008. Now we are working on the IS 27000 security processes for our IT infrastructure. One of the key elements that we've been working on for almost 4 years, and I'm very happy to recognize Dr. V. Natarajan, who heads our entire test research team, who spent the last 4 decades in the area of assessments. We've been doing a series of workshops across India on the basis of item writing and the basics of item writing and equating. This is one such, the brochure that you see is one such thing that we did with an international conference on computer adaptive testing in Bombay sometime last year. And lastly, the test support. We have set up toll-free lines, we have SMSs. For every candidate who walks into your test center, there'll be at least 3 more people who will walk in with him, who are his parents, uncles, aunts, nephews, and managing them becomes a larger issue in the test center than managing the students themselves. And therefore, one of the things you realize is you've got to be accessible to the students at all time on multiple modes, on phone calls, SMSs, emails, chats, etc. So we have built an integrated technology platform where a student can interface with us for any exam at any point of time and make sure that his apprehensions are allayed. With Pariksha, I think we've proved that in GSET and we've done several exams subsequently. We are now in a position to say this is a platform which can provide a 100% secure exam environment with 100% reliable infrastructure, with 100% accuracy of the output being thrown out, with results in less than 1 day, and which delivers a superior candidate experience. So this has been our endeavor over the last 3 years, and I think we have most of the questions answered, if not all. This is a snapshot of our online test centers, about 50,000 seats, 185 cities. This is what a typical test center would be, with biometric systems, with waiting areas, terminals, with all of our centers come with a UPS and a DG set backup. The registration desks, we have a registration database that's uploaded, so every candidate is authenticated against his name and a biometric imprint. As I mentioned, we deliver the test both in a distributed and a centralized mode. The only difference, some snapshot of our online test taking system. The beauty of this is in GSET, of the 23,000 people who took the exam, we did a survey and found that 4,000 had never touched a computer till then, right? But when we got a feedback, almost 95% of them said that, yeah, within the first 10 minutes, I was able to figure out how to go through this exam, and my nervousness came down. And we had given them a 15-minute acclimatization time, and I think that really helped. So, well, digital divide concerns are still there. I think we probably sometimes grossly overestimate the effects of it on the population, and I think we have a far more savvy population than what we believe exists. In GSET, again, this is a great step towards transparency. Every student within 5 minutes of the exam got a printed scorecard. So that boosted their confidence, saying, I know there is nothing hanky-panky happening behind. Here is my score displayed on the screen. I print out a scorecard and I take it away. Of course, this is not the merit list that's generated later. This went a long way in restoring confidence in the student, saying this is a very transparent process. Every test of ours, as I mentioned, controller exams, university officials like to see things. So we put up a comprehensive dashboard where every activity taken in any test center is reflected on the dashboard. Who logged in, how many tests, how many candidates started the exam, how many bombed, how many have restarted, when did they finish. All of it gets refreshed on a real-time basis online. And lastly, last 2 minutes, we realized that technology, it's not a 0 or 1. There are various ways in which you can embed technology in your existing processes. So we've come out with 4 or 5 innovations, or I wouldn't say innovations in the true sense, newer ways of doing things. One is on-screen marking, which is used for descriptive exams. About 90% of exams is still descriptive. How do you get a consistent, accurate, reliable evaluation mechanism? This is being used across the world. Surprisingly, nobody has adopted it large scale in India. We partnered with one of the largest companies in the world to bring this technology to India. We've come out with a very interesting device which adds an attendance sheet, but a biometric attendance sheet. Today, the issue is, in an exam, you do not know who's actually taking the exam because you're doing only by a photo and a signature. This captures the biometric in an offline exam as well. Question bank management software, I think several speakers in the morning alluded to the fact that we need a robust content management, we need a robust collaboration engine, and we are in the process of implementing this in one of a large university. And again, a way of preventing leakage of question paper in the forward logistics. There's a process called just-in-time question paper printing, where you can print question papers remotely at the venue instead of shipping papers. So these are some of the things that we've been working on. We believe the future is massive. These are the various initiatives that we're working on. How do you link assessments to learning outcomes? How do you do employability assurance? How do you do mobile assessment, simulations, etc.? We've been very fortunate to have the support of a very eminent education vision panel. We went ahead and said, we can't fathom this ourselves. We need a bunch of experts who can tell us this. So we've had the good fortune of having all these Saptarishis of sorts being associated with Meritrack on its education vision panel, and we've been able to understand and unravel the future with their help. Thank you very much for this patient hearing, and I look forward to interacting with you in the course of the day.